Hey everybody, it's Sarah with your live video, and today I'm going to be answering one of my most favorite ever member questions that's been asked, and it's about how do you stay in shape for backpacking while you're working on a ship for a year. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna figure out some things to help this person, and hopefully I will. So it's just a little about me for those of you who are new to the group. Hello to all our new members, by the way. I think we have like 50 this week, which is freaking amazing. I'm so glad you're all here, and I hope you find something useful. And if you have a question, just feel free to hop in the group. I will definitely try to help you, and definitely other people here will try to help you. We're a very helpful bunch. So anyway, my name is Sarah. I blog over at Miss Adventure Pants. I'm also the group administrator. I am a fitness coach who works primarily with hikers, backpackers, and mountaineers, helping them get in the best shape of their life for big peaks. And let's dive into this question because I think it's awesome. So this question actually comes from Stephanie, and in her own words, she says, I'm an experienced backpacker, but I am living on a ship for 1 year. And how do I stay conditioned for backpacking? So let me first say, I think while going on a ship is a pretty unusual reason, a pretty cool reason, a good reason, there are lots of if you stay in endurance sports like hiking, backpacking, mountaineering for a while, there are probably several times in your life where you're going to have to step back, take a break, get away from your normal workout routine. And one thing I want you guys to understand is that's okay. You can always come back. We'll talk about that in a minute. How do you ensure that you can always come back? We'll talk about some ways. But you know, this is just a very normal part of life, and it would be a little weird if just our whole lives we never changed and we were always just focused on hiking and nothing else, not our families, not ourselves, not having to deal with other things, or maybe going and trying new things in our lives related to our job, like going on a ship. So I hope that even if you're not quite right there at this moment, you can tuck some of this advice away for when it does happen to you, because chances are it will happen to you. If you're a woman, maybe you want to get pregnant, have a baby, that's going to change your workout routine a lot for maybe about a year. So this is good stuff to know. So I'll talk specifically to Stephanie about the ship and just take from this what applies to your specific situation. So the first tip that I had was really focus on what you can control. So you're going on a ship, right? And you want to stay conditioned. You cannot control the fact that you won't be able to do backpacking specific workouts. There's no hills on the ship. There's no mountains on the ship. It's not going to be exactly like, you're not going to be able to do the super specific workouts that you would do if you were getting ready for a big backpacking trip. However, does that mean that you can't go backpacking pretty soon after you get off? No, because there are so many things you can control, and I really want you to focus on those. You can focus on making things as specific as possible, like maybe you don't have a mountain, but maybe your ship has steps, and you can put on your backpack and go for a little hike all around your ship up and down the steps. Maybe if your ship is small, that might mean climbing up and down the same staircase quite often, but you can make it work. If your ship has a treadmill, you can definitely do your long, slow distance workouts, which are really the beauty of hiking workouts. It's just working on that aerobic fitness, that long, slow distance. You can put on your backpack, put some weight in it, and put your treadmill on an incline and go for a long walk. Great way to escape from your coworkers and your life for a while. If you have shore leave, you can definitely plan some long, slow distance workouts around that. I don't know your specific situation, but definitely the big thing that you need for backpacking is long, slow distance. And while it's going to be harder, and while your volume and your base might be a bit smaller while you're on the ship, it's definitely something that you can improvise and make work. And really my big advice with that, try to get like every week to 2 weeks, one long workout. For backpacking, I'd say over 2 hours if you can, and that's going to keep your base pretty nice and strong. Even if you have to do something really boring, like looping and walking up and down the same flight of stairs for a long time, it's probably going to be worth it as you're getting, if your backpacking fitness is your ultimate goal. Number 2, focus on habits of mind. I think this is one of the great lessons of stepping back and taking a break and having to come back and going through some of the times when it's not so easy to train. I'm a big believer, and I don't talk about this enough on here, that 80%, 90% of training, it's in your mind. If you have, hey Cheryl, if you have the right habits, the right mindsets, you can take a break and come back from anything. It's the reason that some people can train to climb a 20,000 foot mountain and then turn around and say, hey, I'm gonna run an ultra marathon. Like, I don't know how to do it. Maybe the specific things I'm gonna do are a little bit different, but they have that mindset where they get up, they work every day, they're positive, they're good at enduring through setbacks, at working towards really big long-term goals. So these are some things you can definitely work on while you're on the ship. So a couple habits of mind to focus on. One I really love is the compound effect. If you work out or have trained for an endurance event, you know that you don't feel amazing after every workout. It's not like, oh, I had a workout, now I feel so much better and I can run so much faster. It's kind of an up and down, and sometimes you have setbacks and failures, but the most important thing is showing up every day and doing some work. And if you do, for example, if you went for a 20-minute run every day for a year, think about like how amazing your health would be. Like, maybe you couldn't go out and run an ultra marathon, but for someone who was maybe going from sedentary to running 20 minutes a day, like, their health would be amazingly better. Their blood pressure would be lower, their energy would be higher, and they would just have this mindset where every day that's my job, I go out and do the work, and over time, little things really, really add up. Even if from day to day it might seem up, down, it might seem like a dismal failure. If you think back, if you've ever trained for anything really big, think about back to the very first day of training for your marathon or training for your mountain climb. You probably really didn't feel great afterwards and maybe felt pretty terrible. And after the first week, felt even more terrible. But over time, because you didn't give up and you kept doing the work and kept being consistent, it all adds up. So compound effect, definitely a good one to think about with your fitness. And the other one I like to think about is working through failure. I think a lot of people, like, when they're training for something big, and especially when they're going into the unknown. So if you're going to be on a ship, you might find you have to try a few different things to see what works for you as far as keeping your fitness, because I've never been on a ship. I can't tell you how to do it, and maybe even someone else who's been on a ship can't tell you how to do it, because every human's different, every ship is probably different, every situation's different. So you gotta be willing to fall on your face, make mistakes, do it wrong, and just kind of look at it as a great experiment and a puzzle and figure out what really works for you. So just having that open, can-do mindset, understanding that everything is figure-outable is so important, I think, when you are changing your training situation in a way like this. Number 3, set 90-day goals. I think if your goal is to stay in shape on a ship for backpacking for 1 year, it's a little bit nebulous and hard to keep in focus. So what I would really encourage you to do is set like 90-day goals with your fitness, and they might not necessarily be backpacking specific. Like we said, the most important thing is to keep yourself busy, keep yourself in shape, keep consistent, have those good habits of mind. So I know one I did in my off season a couple of years ago. I had never done a pull-up in my life. I'm kind of a short, stocky girl, and I'm like, I want to be able to do 5 pull-ups, and it actually took me a long time, and I really it did take me about 90 days, and for about the first like 80 days, I swear I could do like maybe 0 to 1, and then it kind of all came together, and I was eventually able to do 5. So having projects to work towards is really good. Maybe you want to run an 8-minute mile, maybe you want to have a 6-pack, maybe you want to, it's just whatever it is. You can, the sky's the limit, but give yourself a project to work towards, and that's very good for those habits of mind and that discipline, that you're working towards something, I don't know who's trying to call me, you're working through setbacks, and you are working, like failing and getting up again and keeping going. So I think these 90-day projects are amazing. So definitely set a few of those through the year. I also do think it would be good to have a year-long project, and this could be related to your long, slow distance, like keeping up your aerobic base for backpacking. So maybe, for example, what that might look like is you're like, I want to climb Mount Everest 3 times. I want to climb like, what is that, like 85,000 feet in a year, just on the Stairmaster or on the incline treadmill, or just by climbing stories and measuring it with my Fitbit. Or maybe you want to do it by distance. You're like, I want to walk from coast to coast and back, like whatever that distance is, just keep measuring and tracking. And that's kind of a fun way to keep yourself on track all year long and keep yourself motivated. Maybe when you're because the long, slow distance does tend to be the one that's hard to stay motivated. It can be a little boring, especially when you're having to do it on machines or having to repeat a staircase or do something like that. So having like a year-long project, I think that's good too, but definitely have shorter 90-day projects as well. And finally, if you are going to be going backpacking, like you're going to be like having a vacation from the ship and you want to go backpacking, I will give you one resource. It's called, it's a book, and it's called, what is it called? My mind just went so blank, you guys. It's called The Time Crunched Cyclist, and the author is Chris Carmichael. And don't be afraid of the cycling part. It's all about endurance training. There's tons of stuff in there that you can apply to your backpacking or running or whatever you want to do as well. And he actually has a formula that he uses to train people for kind of middle distance endurance events that just have maybe like 6 or 7 hours a week to train, because realistically you're probably not going to be wanting to do 10 to 12 hours of long, slow distance on the boat. I mean, if you have the equipment and the setup, it might work, but if it doesn't for you, that book might be a great place to look. He really shows you how to get not in amazing shape to do an ultra marathon backpack, but maybe if you just want to go out and do a backpack with your friends, this will help you do it comfortably. And he kind of warns you don't want to do this exercise program all of the time. It's not meant to be done as your regular workout. It's kind of intense. It has a lot of high intensity interval training in it, but if you just need to, to get through one event and you don't have a lot of training time, there's a lot of science behind it, and I definitely recommend checking it out. So Chris Carmichael, The Time Crunched Cyclist, it's definitely worth having a look. I'm reading it right now. I think there's a lot of great stuff in there, especially for people that just are kind of at a different stage in life where they can't really do classic endurance training. So there's some thoughts for you. I really hope this was helpful. Enjoy your time on the ship. If you have time to, Stephanie, if you have time to post and tell us more about what you're doing, I think that's amazing. And if you want to keep us updated on how your training is going, and if you have any lessons you've learned for us, I think a lot of people could benefit from that. And yeah, thanks everybody for checking it out, and I will talk to you guys soon in the group. Take care.